Ryan, so there was a metric that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to circle back to. You had mentioned, I think Amazon was like 120 people per product, and Walmart was like 800 shoppers per product. Is that correct?
The comparison of monthly shoppers to sellers on the platform. So based off the figures of, Walmart has about 120 million monthly customers, Amazon about 310 million customers worldwide. Walmart's around 150,000 sellers, and Amazon's around 2.5 million sellers. So a ratio of sellers to customers monthly.
Follow-up question is on that piece. Since Walmart is, I think David likes to refer to Walmart as the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And so I think everybody, as a seller, it would be wonderful to get into brick and mortar. So what, is that an option? Is that happening? Can you speak to that a little bit?
That is definitely a unique opportunity with Walmart as compared to Amazon. So, what we've seen, and I'll share some signals we see to that end. So one thing I didn't share at the beginning is we currently service e-commerce brands that are migrating over to Walmart, and we manage over there, but we also worked with aggregators as well as retail brands. So Walmart, what they've done is basically they've gone omni-channel in their approach. That's the language they're using, and it's just standard in the industry, but they have actually merged their retail and e-commerce teams functionally. And so what we see is when we've sat in, even in line reviews with retail brands that already have brick and mortar distribution, these buyers, when they're coming up biannually and they're sitting down, one of the questions the buyers are asking repeatedly, consistently is, can you show us your .com performance? They care about the listings. They care about the sales volume, those things. And it's part now materially with those retail suppliers of the discussion and its impact on, will they get extra store counts in distribution or not? And so, or will they get extra products added in? So we see the signal on that side that Walmart cares about the .com side, even with existing supplier relationships. We also we've seen with suppliers that we've introduced and worked with on the .com side, the opportunity in talking with category directors on the e-commerce side, where the conversation has led to, as sales start to grow, an ask of, would you like to be introduced to a Walmart buyer to start a conversation? And so we've had those introductions and those connections as well. And then the other signal I think was a big telling one this year is Walmart does what they call open call every year. They just did it a little over a month ago. And so they do a nationwide call for US-based manufacturers to basically come to Arkansas and do basically a Shark Tank type pitch competition. And so for those that are selected to come in, they pitch, and then they get an opportunity to potentially win an offer from a retail buyer there. And so what's notable this year was the first round of that open call was exclusive to Walmart Marketplace sellers. So before they went nationwide with the call, they first rolled that out to any seller on Walmart.com Marketplace. So they're actively showing the signals of saying, let's connect those dots in that conversation between what we're seeing online and what's happening there. I mean, and you can think of it, to use a baseball analogy, if a team has their farm system, their AAA leagues or whatever it is, they're seeing what's happening. They have nationwide statistics of where the demand is. They can start figuring out, where would we run a trial? Which stores are probably going to be the best performers for this? And they're de-risking their placement of that coveted shelf space in store by leveraging online data. So that's all a longer explanation to say, yes, I think it's probably going to be 1% or less of the products available that makes sense, because you're going to be likely displacing something else. So you got to be prepared to show performance. You got to have retail ready packaging. You got to do all those things. And I think one of the things is suppliers need to think through, one of the biggest obstacles for suppliers going into retail distribution is, do they have the capital at the ready to scale up if that purchase order comes through? But if for those that are starting to put those ducks in a row and figure that out and want to have those conversations, even in advance of what would it look like and how do I plan that direction, those conversations are beginning now and in various ways. So it is exciting for those that want to put that type of channel in their business plan.
So in the brands that you've worked with, what are some challenges that they're facing on Walmart.com?
Great way to phrase it. I think challenges is the right positive spin on these things. I think Walmart, they're massive. and they're dedicating a lot of resource to growing these things, but at scale, there's always issues and challenges. And so some of that presents itself in the actual interface and the UI of trying to sell. You know, there's less tools available that are developed specifically for the Walmart marketplace. So sellers are having to focus more on going directly through self-serve option and the seller center rather than relying on secondary tools. There are several out there, which is good news, but that the interface is in uploading content, you know, uploading spec sheets. It can be a hit or miss. You put in a spec sheet to upload something and it may go through and it may work or it may not. And you may get feedback in the activity feed that it did go through, or it may not show up in the activity feed that it went through. And so you've got to have a little bit of grit and a little bit of brute force. I see Ken smiling over there. It looks like he's done the same. So those things exist, those challenges exist. We find one thing that's presently a bigger challenge on Walmart is the issue of content ranking right now. So trying to update fields and do things for different listings and not able, those fields are often locked, and that happens a lot more often on Walmart than it would elsewhere. And that's some side effects, unintentional sometimes on the Walmart side with the different bots they have that are trying to curate quality of listings, those things. And so there's ways to get around it, but it just takes a lot of time and patience. Right now, the seller support is a bit of a gamble when you kind of reach out to them as to whether or not you get something helpful at the moment. Again, they're scaling up, trying to train a lot of staff. So we had one where